Hello, everyone. Welcome back. If you're looking for easy English listening practice, you're in the right place.
We are very glad you're joining us today.
Yeah, so today I want you to think about something. If you look around a crowded train or a busy cafe right now, you might notice something pretty weird.
Something you can't unsee once you notice it.
Exactly. Half the people wearing those big headphones, they're listening to absolutely nothing.
Nothing at all.
Zero sound. Today, we are basically decoding the secret language of silent headphones.
Right, because, well, we usually think of headphones as a very simple, straightforward tool. You put them over your ears, you press play on a music playlist, and you listen.
That's what they're built for.
Exactly. But the way people are actually using them, it's changed dramatically. A huge number of people are treating them as something else entirely. No music, no podcast.
Just silence.
Yeah, just the physical object resting on their ears.
It sounds almost ridiculous when you first hear it. I mean, why buy a device engineered to deliver sound only to sit there in total silence?
It seems like a waste of money, right?
Right. But once you start looking for this habit, it is impossible to unsee. I noticed it just the other day after reading the source material for this deep dive.
Oh, really? Where were you?
I was walking through a university library and I saw a student staring at her laptop. She was typing away wearing these massive headphones. And as I walked past, I saw that the wire was completely disconnected. It was just
Wow.
dangling over the edge of the desk. She was in her own silent little world.
Yeah, and you see the exact same thing in corporate offices. An employee might keep their large headphones on for an entire 8-hour shift.
8 hours of nothing.
Yes. And if you ask them what they're listening to, they will pull one ear cup off and admit, that it has been silent since lunch.
That is wild.
And the fascinating part of this phenomenon is that nobody else in the room can tell the difference. To the rest of the world, that person is deeply engaged in audio.
Right. So I want to ask you, the listener, to think about this for a second. Have you ever caught yourself doing this?
It's a good question.
Yeah. Have you ever placed your headphones on and purposefully ignored the play button? Our mission today is to figure out what this silent habit reveals about modern life.
We are going to explore how we use public spaces, how our brains process noise, and how we handle the pressure of just being around other people.
So let's jump in. Where do we start with this?
Well, to really understand this, we have to stop looking at headphones as electronic devices.
Okay.
We need to look at them as a powerful social signal. They have evolved from a piece of technology into, like, a tool for communication.
Which is ironic for a silent object.
Totally. Putting on a pair of headphones sends a very loud, clear message to everyone in the room without the wearer having to open their mouth.
It silently announces, I am busy or I need some space.
Yes, exactly.
It's like they want to shut out the world for a bit, just create a boundary between themselves and everyone else.
That's a great way to put it. It communicates a boundary.
But we have to address the obvious problem here, right? Because creating a boundary against the people sitting right next to you can seem incredibly rude.
It definitely can.
I mean, if you are sitting in a room with coworkers or walking through your neighborhood and you put on headphones specifically so you don't have to say hello to anyone.
A lot of people would consider that antisocial.
Exactly. Very antisocial.
But the social friction of that situation is exactly what the silent headphones are designed to fix. The headphones actually solve the problem of feeling rude.
Wait, how does it solve it?
Well, let's imagine you're sitting at your desk and you just want to focus. If a coworker walks up to your desk and starts talking and you actively ignore them, that is a direct rejection.
Right. You're just ignoring them to their face.
And that causes guilt, it makes you feel impolite, and it makes them feel bad.
Yeah. You are forced into a difficult situation. You either have to stop what you're doing and, drain your energy by chatting, or you have to be the bad guy and tell him to go away.
And both of those options require emotional work.
They really do.
So the silent headphones remove that emotional work. They create an invisible wall. They outsource the rejection to the plastic device.
Oh, I see.
Now the coworker sees the headphones and naturally hesitates. They think, oh, they're listening to a meeting, I shouldn't bother them.
That's so clever.
Right. The person wearing the headphones didn't have to be rude, and the coworker didn't have to feel rejected. The physical object managed the boundaries for both of them.
So it creates a physical boundary that everyone culturally agrees to respect. Society has basically agreed that big plastic ear cups mean do not enter.
Precisely.
But creating a boundary against conversation implies that someone actually wants to talk to you. What about environments where no one wants to talk to you at all? Like a doctor's waiting room or standing in line at a grocery store. People still put their headphones on in those places.
Yeah, that points to a completely different psychological need. If the office is about avoiding conversation, the waiting room is about the discomfort of being idle.
Just waiting around.
Yeah. Waiting in public is a strangely unique and uncomfortable human experience. When people are forced to stand in a long line or wait alone at a bus stop, they face a specific kind of social pressure.
Because they have nothing obvious to do.
Exactly.
And the human brain hates looking unoccupied. If you just stand there staring straight ahead at a bus stop with your hands in your pockets, you start to feel exposed.
You really do.
You know that uncomfortable feeling like everyone might be looking at you because you aren't doing anything? You start wondering if you look strange or lost or lonely. That uncomfortable feeling of being watched makes you feel vulnerable.
And to fix that vulnerability, people feel the need to perform an activity. They need to look occupied.
Even if they're faking it.
Right. And this is where the silent headphones work their magic. By simply wearing them, you are instantly transformed from someone who is doing nothing into someone who is doing something.
You are now a person engaged in a private activity.
Exactly. Maybe you're listening to a complex audiobook or focusing on a new album. The people around you don't know the truth.
And because nobody knows the truth, the anxiety disappears. I feel like the airport is the perfect environment to observe this behavior.
Oh, absolutely. The airport is fascinating for this.
Because an airport terminal is this massive room filled with thousands of strangers who will probably never see each other again. There is almost zero chance of a spontaneous conversation. Everyone is just waiting.
Right, nobody's going to bother you.
Yet the moment a traveler finds a seat at their gate, the very first thing they do is reach into their bag and pull out their headphones.
You use the device to build a private room inside a highly public, very exposed area. They are building a personal space where none actually exists. It lowers the social anxiety of existing in public.
It's like a safety blanket.
It really is. But this invisible wall doesn't just block out the physical people around us. Managing the external environment is only half the story.
What's the other half?
The other half is how silent headphones help us manage our own internal focus.
Okay, yeah. Because we really have to consider how noisy modern life feels, even when the room is completely silent. Definitely.
Your phone is constantly vibrating in your pocket, notifications are flashing across your laptop screen, emails are demanding immediate replies. We are living in a constant state of silent noise.
And it creates a heavy cognitive load.
Cognitive load.
Yeah, cognitive load is simply, how much information your brain has to process at any given moment.
Okay, that makes sense.
In a public place, your brain is acting like an ancient survival machine. It wants to track every footstep behind you, every cough, every sudden movement in the corner of your eye.
That sounds exhausting.
It is. That constant scanning takes a huge amount of mental energy. The physical sensation of the headphone pads creates a false sense of an enclosed space. It tricks your nervous system.
Oh, wait. The reading we reviewed for this deep dive had a beautiful way of describing that feeling.
The rainstorm one.
Yes. It compared wearing silent headphones to sitting safely inside your living room, looking out the window during a heavy rainstorm.
That's a great image, isn't it? The storm outside is chaotic. The wind is blowing, the rain is hitting the street, but you are inside, dry and completely safe. The glass of the window separates you from the chaos, and that distance brings a deep, comforting sense of calm.
And the physical pressure of the headphones acts like that window glass. It blocks the brain's need to constantly scan the room for threats. You feel slightly separated from the overwhelming environment.
Wow.
And that sense of safety leads us directly to how we use this feeling to force our brains to work.
The library effect.
Exactly.
This is exactly what was happening with that university student I saw. She wasn't just blocking out the noise of the library, she was using the silent headphones to trigger her own concentration.
People will sit down to study or write a report, put their headphones on, and simply forget to play any music.
And hours will pass. They will do incredibly complex work, and the entire time, their device was completely silent.
The fact that they still felt focused the entire time reveals something fascinating about human psychology.
Which is,
We rely heavily on environmental cues. A cue is a signal that tells your brain it is time to perform a specific action. We build habits around these cues through a process similar to Pavlovian conditioning, where the brain connects a physical object to a specific mental state.
like putting on your running shoes.
Exactly like that.
Because the shoes themselves don't make your muscles stronger, but the physical act of tying the laces sends a message to your brain. It says, we are about to exercise.
Right.
You suddenly feel more energetic just because the shoes are on your feet.
And the silent headphones function as a cognitive running shoe. The music isn't the most important part of the process. The physical ritual of putting the heavy device over your ears becomes the primary signal.
So the action itself is what matters.
Yeah. After months or years of doing this, your brain simply associates the physical weight of the headphones with a drop in distractions. The brain says, the ears are covered, therefore it is time to focus.
The silent object becomes a mental switch. The brain just accepts the silence as the start of productivity. But, this internal focus isn't always about doing more work or studying harder.
No, not at all.
Sometimes putting on silent headphones is about pure survival. It is about protecting whatever tiny amount of mental energy you have left at the end of a very demanding day.
That is so true. Different people process social interaction in very different ways.
Yeah.
For some people, navigating a crowded city, dealing with customers at a store, or, sitting through hours of meetings is deeply exhausting. By the time the workday ends, they're experiencing extreme social exhaustion.
Their social battery is completely empty.
Completely.
And when you are socially exhausted, even a friendly smile or a polite hello from a stranger can feel like a heavy burden. You aren't angry, you aren't depressed. You simply have no energy left to give to another human being.
You desperately need a transition period to recover.
And the daily commute home is the ultimate transition period. When people step onto a bus or a train after work, they are trapped in a metal box with 50 other tired people.
It's a tough environment.
So the silent headphones serve as a literal do not disturb sign. They hang it on their ears the same way you hang a sign on a hotel room door.
That's a perfect comparison.
It allows them to sit in a crowded space and begin the slow process of recharging their energy, before they have to walk through their front door and interact with their family.
It really is the modern version of a very old, very natural human habit.
What do you mean?
Well, years ago, before we had smartphones in our pockets and wireless devices on our ears, people experienced this transition period by simply staring out a train window.
Oh, right.
Or sitting quietly on a park bench and watching the traffic. They just let their minds wander in public.
There was no intense pressure to constantly consume information.
Exactly. Today, if you are sitting on a train, society expects you to be productive or entertained. You should be scrolling through the news or answering text messages or listening to an educational deep dive.
The pressure to always be doing something is relentless.
It is.
So wearing silent headphones creates a clever loophole. It provides an excuse to do absolutely nothing. It protects that increasingly rare activity of just sitting with your own uninterrupted thoughts.
It's vital.
It gives people the necessary breathing room to process their day.
Breathing room is a great way to describe it. In a modern environment that demands constant performance and constant attention, claiming a few minutes of empty, quiet time is incredibly valuable for our mental health.
But we do have to look at the other side of this.
Right, it's not all positive.
No, not everyone thinks this invisible wall is a positive development for society. If we're all walking around our neighborhoods and cities hiding behind our do not disturb signs, there's a very real cost to our communities.
We are currently facing a massive global loneliness epidemic.
Exactly. People constantly complain that it is harder than ever to make friends or feel connected to their city.
And that is the core of the debate. Sociologists often talk about the importance of weak ties.
Weak ties.
Yeah. Weak ties are those tiny, low-stakes interactions we have with strangers. Nodding at the person pouring your coffee, chatting about the weather at the bus stop, or exchanging a quick joke in an elevator.
Just small moments.
Right. These moments seem unimportant, but they are actually the glue that holds a healthy community together.
And silent headphones completely destroy those weak ties. If everyone in a public park is wearing large headphones, the park stops being a shared community space.
It just becomes a room full of isolated individuals who refuse to acknowledge each other.
Yeah, we are building heavily armored acoustic bubbles around ourselves, and then we are acting surprised when we feel isolated. Are we trading the long-term health of our communities for the short-term comfort of avoiding an awkward conversation?
It is a difficult balance to find. The critics argue that this habit encourages us to disconnect from our surroundings and treat public spaces merely as physical areas to travel through rather than places to participate in.
We lose the serendipity of modern life.
Yes. The chance encounters, the unexpected conversations, the spontaneous moments of connection.
So how do we reconcile those two realities? I mean, on one hand, the silent headphones are a brilliant, necessary tool to prevent cognitive overload and protect our mental health.
Sure.
On the other hand, they might be slowly tearing apart our social fabric.
The resolution really lies in the intention behind the habit. The object itself isn't the problem. It is how and why we choose to deploy the invisible wall.
What do you mean?
Well, sometimes headphones are unfortunately used as a weapon of rejection, a way to aggressively block out the world and ignore the people who share our community.
Right.
But for the vast majority of people, the intention is much softer.
It's about energy management.
Exactly. If someone uses that silent boundary on the train ride home to find some breathing room, they might actually have more energy to be present, kind, and engaged when they finally reach their destination.
That makes a lot of sense. By disconnecting for a little while, they are building up the capacity to genuinely connect later.
The quiet power of this simple habit is truly remarkable. We see headphones every single day. We barely even register them on other people anymore.
They're just everywhere.
Yet, they have quietly transformed from simple speakers into one of the most vital emotional tools of modern life. They provide a portable safe space that you can carry through crowded streets, demanding offices, and noisy airports.
They give us permission to be mentally alone, even when we are physically surrounded by hundreds of people. The sound coming through the wires was never the entire point.
Oh, it wasn't.
For millions of people, the physical feeling of the boundary is what truly matters. It completely changes how I will view the silent commuters on my train tomorrow morning.
Same here.
But before we finish up today, this entire exploration leads to one final, slightly provocative thought, something for you, the listener, to mull over on your own.
Where does this habit go from here?
Exactly. Right now, large over-the-ear headphones serve as a very helpful, very obvious visual boundary. People can physically see the plastic, they see the wall.
Right, the signal is clear.
But technology is always shrinking. What happens in the near future when earbuds become completely microscopic?
Oh, wow.
When they sit so deep inside the ear canal that they are totally invisible to the person standing next to you?
That's a huge shift.
Yeah.
Without the visual cue, the invisible wall truly becomes invisible. The social signal disappears completely.
So how will we signal to strangers that we need our mental space then? Will we have to invent an entirely new physical gesture to tell the world we need a boundary?
It is definitely something to watch out for as technology evolves.
Well, thanks for spending time with us today. Hopefully this conversation gave you something interesting to think about. Keep listening, keep learning, and we'll see you again soon.